So today I want to talk to you guys about alfalfa. I had some leftover cubes just sitting in the trailer for a while. It started to mold up, so I decided to put it to good use in the garden. If you didn't know, alfalfa or alfalfa meal is something that horses eat. They sell it in the feed store. You can get it locally, I'm sure, and it only costs about $17, $18 for a 50-pound bag. So alfalfa is high in nitrogen. It holds a lot of trace minerals that your vegetable garden needs and will thrive if they have it. It's a slow release fertilizer that will release small amounts of nitrogen into your garden over time. It will last so long in your garden beds. You will see the presence of alfalfa years after you amended your soil with it. Over here on our homestead, we're taking a no-dig approach, so I'll just be adding this stuff on top of my soil and letting it break down over time. But if you take the steps like I took by just soaking the alfalfa, letting it dry out, and then kind of spreading it thin, you can just sprinkle this stuff into your garden. It will automatically start feeding your plants, or in the middle of the season, you can just sprinkle a little bit of this stuff around each plant. You can soak it and just use the excess water as kind of like a compost tea or like alfalfa tea. You can just do so much with this stuff. I really encourage you guys to just give it a try. So after I let it soak up most of the water and dehydrate in the sun, it's mostly just loose hay now. Still a little wet underneath. But for the most part, I can start incorporating this into the raised beds. As you can see, I already started mulching this bed with some spent hay. So I'm just gonna peel back the hay. Underneath the spent hay, I also have leaves. So we have quite a bit of mulch on top of this bed already. And the alfalfa is just gonna act as a slow release fertilizer. So you don't really have to worry about amending it into the soil, especially if you're going with a no dig approach like myself. You can just sprinkle it on top of your bed, cover it with your whatever mulch you pick, and then once you start watering it in, the soil will absorb that alfalfa grain and it'll act as a awesome fertilizer for your garden. In this raised bed, I'm gonna have tomatoes. Tomatoes love nitrogen, so we're gonna get plenty of it in the bed for them. And like you guys saw in the beginning, this was cubed, compressed. It was extremely compressed, very hard. I had to wake it up with a lot of water, and now it's just able to crumble right into the soil. Don't need a lot, but I'm gonna give it a fair amount. Okay. We have plans on taking the girls to the safari today, so I'm trying to squeeze this in while they're eating breakfast. Just sprinkle it around, just like that. I'm gonna be growing my tomatoes up strings this year, which I'm really excited about. That's why I have these. That's why I have these up here. I'm gonna start tying off the string where I'm going to place the tomatoes. And there's some weeds growing up in this raised bed, but I'm just gonna take this spent hay. I'm not gonna weed it. I'm not gonna waste my time picking out every single piece of weed. I'm just gonna put this spent hay on top of the whole bed. And with the Ruth Stout method, she just encourages you to lay the hay on top of the weeds. Don't put in any extra work, and the hay will do the weeding for you, meaning it'll smother out the weeds, and in return you are incorporating no dig by doing it that way. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I used about half a bucket of the alfalfa. And then I'm just gonna quickly return the hay on top. Like that. Like a little hay blanket. And this hay, I don't use straw. I use what I have. I'm a really big fan. Hey, airplane, one of them old school loud airplanes. I'm a really big fan of using what you have, not having to go to the store every time you want to incorporate something new into the garden. So they say that hay carries more weed seeds than straw, which is probably true, but in my case I use what I have, and we have horses, so we have a lot of hay, so that's what I'm using. I also take a lot of the spent hay that they have in the back bales, and I just add it to my compost as carbon. One really cool thing that I noticed as well when I was letting the compressed cubes soak up the water is that the water was turning into kind of like a compost tea. It was pretty much nitrogen water. All the alfalfa was soaking up the water, then spitting the water out, and the water was brown, and that would have served as kind of like a compost tea. I could have poured that over plants that I have growing right now, but since I only have onions and garlic growing right now, I really didn't have the need for it. But I thought that that was pretty awesome, that you can get the alfalfa and you can also get the alfalfa tea at the same time, so it's like a 2-for-1. So I have the hay spread out, and this is where I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna do the same in all my other raised beds. Right now, I just wanted to show you guys the process of how to do that. Thanks so much for watching today, guys. I got a ton of subscribers last night from Led Farmer's live video. He's encouraging all of us gardeners to start a YouTube channel and to put in some of the extra work. And I got quite a few subscribers just off of networking with his commenters, and I just want to give a big thank you and a shout out to Led Farmer and his family, his garden family, for supporting me and coming over and checking out my channel. Stay tuned for a lot more footage. We're getting into the swing of planting and starting seeds, so turn on your notification bell if you're interested in following along with my content, and we'll see you guys in the next one.